Hello, everybody, and finally welcome back to Improve with Dr. Lindsay podcast. Here in Florida, we are finally past all of the back-to-back hurricanes and holidays, and now we are apparently participating in winter this year. So there's just been a lot going on over the last few months, and I, for one, am very excited to get this new year started and for new beginnings. So with all that being said, I am excited to be back and creating some free content and getting these episodes out for you guys. So you will notice that I have made some changes to my processes here and there just to try to kind of streamline everything and make it as easy as possible for me to keep getting these episodes out on a regular basis for you all. So just want to start with saying thank you guys for being here and for tuning in. Thank you for bearing with me during my hurricane and holiday hiatus. And thank you in advance for hanging with me as things will likely continue to adapt and evolve as we move forward and hopefully keep growing together. So on that note, I also made some adjustments to the topic schedule. We were planning on talking about posture, but instead of talking about posture today, we are going to talk about some benefits of exercise, specifically 5 reasons that you should exercise regularly that are not related to aesthetics. So before we dive too much further into that topic, for those of you who do not know me yet, I am Dr. Lindsay. I'm a licensed physical therapist, ACSM certified exercise physiologist, owner of Improve PT, and your host of Improve with Dr. Lindsay podcast. So without further ado, let's just jump in. And I want to first give you guys a little bit of background, kind of on the inspiration behind today's episode, which all started with me finding some pretty crazy statistics on New Year's resolutions. And I say they're crazy, but honestly, in my experience in the gym, it also seems like they're pretty accurate. So I'm not really sure why these numbers shocked me so much, but they did. So I found out that almost 50% of New Year's resolutions that are made are related to improving fitness. That one's not so surprising, but here's where it gets more interesting, to me at least. Before February, almost half of people quit their New Year's resolutions, and less than 10% actually stick with them throughout the whole year. So after giving this some thought and thinking about why so many people quit, especially why so many people quit so soon, and kind of the journey that I'm on with my own fitness right now, I decided that I think most people's why is just in the wrong place. I think most people just decide to set a resolution or decide to start getting active out of the motivation to look better or to lose weight. And then I thought maybe the average person just doesn't realize how much more there is to be gained from exercising regularly. And I've been in the exercise industry so long now that it just kind of feels like common sense to me. But I realize now that it really isn't. So without any further explanation, let's get into the 5 reasons that you should exercise regularly aside from aesthetics. And let me tell you, there are definitely more than 5, a whole lot more than 5 reasons. But these are the ones that really stand out to me as a PT and that I think were the most important to share with you guys today. So number 1 is to decrease stress, anxiety, and depression. We live in such a culture of chronic stress and anxiety right now. I mean, there's literally a book that came out recently that is called The Anxious Generation, which is on my list, my very long list of things to read. But I think that this is just the biggest reason that more people need to start exercising, because exercise has been proven over and over and over again to reduce stress. And this one I think a lot of people know cognitively, but they haven't really implemented into their life physically to fully understand or experience just how powerful of a treatment that exercise really is for stress. If you suffer from anxiety or have been chronically stressed, let me just encourage you. It takes time, but it does work. Don't expect the change to just happen overnight or in your first workout to just feel some amazing, miraculous stress relief. But if you are consistent, you may really be shocked at the difference that you will feel. So the evidence really is everywhere, but let me just kind of break down a couple of the major ways that exercise helps with reducing stress. Chronic stress, anxiety, and depression essentially keep your body in a fight or flight mode or state. That fight or flight mode is your sympathetic nervous system, and it's essentially responding to a stimulus of fear. So our nervous system's response to fear is to prepare the body for vigorous activity. For example, in the most simple way possible to explain this, our innate response to imminent danger, like an aggressive animal running at you, is going to be to run away as quickly as possible and flee for your life. So to do that, our nervous system communicates and prepares our body by constricting blood flow to our internal organs and rerouting it to all the skeletal muscles that allow you to run away, which will in turn increase our heart rate, blood pressure, blood sugar, you name it. So we could really go down a whole rabbit hole here, but that's essentially all you really need to understand, because I'm going to stop there and I'm just going to ask you this simple question. What do you think happens when our bodies, or to our bodies, when we are continuously experiencing a fearful stimulus? Now, of course, the level of fear is relative, so your body isn't going to respond as aggressively to a chronic lower dose of stress the same way that it's going to respond to a literal bear growling at you. But if you've ever experienced a panic attack, you know the real physical implications of what it can feel like to experience these extreme symptoms all at once, and what it does, physically take a toll on you. Now back to how exercise helps with that. Initially, when we're exercising, we're going to increase that fight or flight response. But the way that I like to think of it is like you are able to finally complete the cycle, burn the energy, or run away. And then when this is performed regularly, it actually increases the activity in the other part of our nervous system, which is called the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for quite the opposite. It's responsible for your ability to rest, digest, conserve energy. So after we exercise, the body becomes better at resting and digesting, using the other side that's responsible for more of the calmness. So we can also break this down a little bit differently, because most people know the term adrenaline rush. This is like your fight or flight response, and adrenaline is actually a hormone that is released in response to stress, so like cortisol. Exercise has been shown to reduce those types of stress hormones and increase the release of endorphins, or what we call our happy hormones, which is linked with improved mood, self-esteem, confidence, etc. So you could see how all these things kind of work together to manage stress, anxiety, and depression. And then for some people, this could probably be a sixth reason all on its own, but I decided to incorporate it under this because of the important role it plays in managing stress. And that is that exercise also can actually improve your sleep. It increases melatonin production. It also can help regulate your circadian rhythm. And these things can help to fight against, sleep disorders like insomnia, sleep apnea, and they can just improve overall quality of sleep. And I also like to attribute that to the improved function of the parasympathetic nervous system, or rest and digest nervous system, after we've exercised. So, all right, I could talk about stress and anxiety all day. Let's move on to number 2. Reduced risk of disease. Exercise strengthens your heart, your lungs, your muscles, your bones, even your brain. It is known to decrease blood pressure, increase good cholesterol, lower bad cholesterol, which all these things help to fight things like heart disease, which is still the number 1 leading cause of death in the United States since the 1900s. And these also help to reduce the risk of stroke and other cardiovascular related diseases. It's also known to lower blood sugar levels, increase insulin sensitivity, and those things help to fight against type 2 diabetes. Exercise can also reduce your body fat, which can decrease risk of many other diseases and improve your liver and kidney function. Strong muscles also equal strong bones, so that's going to fight against and prevent things like osteoporosis and osteopenia, actually be treatment for those things. There's even some research out there that exercise can help to avoid certain types of cancer. It also helps to improve your cognitive function, which is one of my personal favorites. So things like your memory, problem-solving skills, ability to concentrate or pay attention, and therefore those things reduce your risk of dementia and other cognitive decline throughout the principle of neuroplasticity, which again, we could have a whole other podcast on, so I'm going to stop there. We are on to number 3, which is my personal current favorite in my season of life right now, and that is to improve your success. Did you know that if we look at the world's highest achievers, almost all of them incorporate exercise somehow into their daily routine? And exercise, as we've discussed, has many, many, many physical and mental benefits that improve your health. And I believe that when we are physically and mentally healthy and feel better, we have more energy, we are more confident, more balanced in terms of our body and brain chemistry, and it just naturally bleeds into your life being more successful. But according to more recent neuroscience, studies show that pushing yourself to do things that you don't like to do and or don't want to do can actually strengthen the part of your brain that is associated with willpower, self-control, and essentially help you train your brain to learn how to overcome challenges. So it also wasn't just a common thing that these high achievers exercise daily, but that most of them exercised first thing in the morning. And I don't know about you, but that makes a lot of sense to me, because if I don't get it done first thing in the morning, I'm going to forget about it, and or something else is just going to take precedence over it before the end of the day, and therefore never get to it. So we've actually now adopted this, despite my feelings about it, because I am not a morning person. Ask my mother or my boyfriend. I hate getting up in the morning, but I really will say there is something to this exercising first. It's like it sets your day up for success. Like, you start the day feeling accomplished. And for me, the act of exercising regularly, specifically in the morning, also really helps me to manage my own stress and anxiety, and leaves me feeling much more calm and centered and clear-headed the rest of the day. And maybe I am growing my own willpower and discipline region part of my brain, which is definitely something that's necessary if you are pushing forward and pursuing dreams like me. So that leaves us with number 4 and number 5, which are both very near and dear to my heart, and part of what I help people with on a daily basis in my line of work and in my business. And that is, number 4 is improved longevity, or living longer. I also like to look at longevity in the light of not just living longer, but living better for longer, or with a better quality of life. We already talked about how exercise can help to reduce risks of several diseases, and I think this is a really big contributor to physically living for longer. But exercise can also help you to keep active and independent, which is a huge factor, and not only the quality of life as we age, but there are also countless studies on ambulatory status, or your ability to walk or not, and the correlation between risk of mortality or death. And those show evidence that our ability to walk, and even how fast you're able to walk, is directly associated with risk of death. And so I think that most people want to live longer, but like on a lighter note, what I like to focus on with most of my clients is longevity in the aspect of being able to do the things that we love for as long as possible. A big motivator for most people who seek PT in some way is that there's some activity that they can't do. And this goes for really any age, but it might be being able to get on and off the floor to play with their kids or grandkids. It might be being able to walk their dogs, ride their bike, play golf, you name it, or even just being able to complete basic activities around the house that people like you and I maybe have never even thought of as being a gift to be able to do. Whether those things are limited by pain or just general ability to perform, that is where I help people, and it is through prescribed exercise. So exercise really does play a vital role in keeping people moving and functional for as long as possible. And it doesn't even have to be like that complicated. I overheard some women in the sauna the other day at the gym, and they were talking about their parents or somebody in their family and how they used to walk their block and they stopped walking. And then once they stopped, they lost their ability. And they were talking about how they now regret that because they need a lot of help. So you can strengthen your body at any age, but the older you get, the more difficult it can be, and the longer it takes. And honestly, the lower overall potential that you're going to be able to reach. So I know you've probably seen those posts recently that are like, the blank at 60 started at 30, and they put some sort of disease or issue there, but really it's true. What you do now does matter for your future. And so like avoiding your squats now may be the reason that you can't get off the couch or off the floor when you're 70. In fact, the number one predicting factor in someone's success or potential in rehab depends on what they were able to do before the issue or the injury, before they came to see us. So I don't know about you, but keeping my body mobile and strong so that I can still be healthy and independent in my 70s and 80s is a huge reason to not only want to get in the gym, but also to stay in the gym and stay healthy. And that leaves us with our last, but certainly not least, and one of my, again, personal favorites, number 5, which is pain management. Exercise actually helps to manage pain in a number of ways. Obviously, it's kind of the essence of what we do as physical therapists, but we're going to kind of break down some other ways that it helps with pain. And the first way is that when we exercise regularly, It is going to help keep you mobile and help keep you strong. And those things are going to hopefully help you prevent or avoid injury and pain. It's also been shown to help prevent chronic pain conditions by the act of just regularly exercising. If you are overweight, losing some weight is also going to take some pressure off of your joints, help you decrease your pain in your joints. And we PTs, we love the term motion is lotion because it really is. And motion is going to provide nutrients to your joints and also serve as another way to kind of keep your joints healthy and hopefully pain-free. And so in these aspects, exercise actually works to reduce overall pain. But on the contrary, on the other side, we talked about how exercise also releases endorphins. So these endorphins also actually interact with the receptors in your brain and can reduce or blunt your perception of pain. And so by this understanding, the act of non-specific exercise alone should help to reduce pain while you are physically performing the exercise, but it also can relate to the release of adrenaline. So if you've ever been in a car accident or had any sort of traumatic stress event, you understand that when adrenaline is pumping in your system, it's going to alter your ability to feel pain. But then once you stop and the adrenaline comes back down, then you could be experiencing pain again when you're done exercising. And for this reason, I do caution against using non-specific exercises for the simple purpose of trying to manage pain, because depending on the type of pain that you're experiencing, you likely need some specific targeted exercises to actually address the root cause of your pain or dysfunction. And that is pretty much the essence of what I and most physical therapists do for a living. So put it as simply as possible, we prescribe specific exercises to address pain, and it works, but not by the rush of adrenaline or blocking pain receptors, but by addressing the root cause of the problem and addressing those limitations or imbalances that are leading to your pain. So hopefully that results in lasting relief and allows you to be able to exercise on your own more. So in summary of all of that, exercise can help to decrease stress and anxiety and depression, decrease your risk of disease, improve your success and your longevity, and help to manage pain. So basically, if someone could figure out how to turn the effects of exercise into a pill form, we'd all be taking as much of it as we could. So I could sit here and tell you all the reasons that you should exercise, but the truth is the should really doesn't matter. Your why is what matters. So knowledge is great, but the true power and wisdom is found when you apply what you know to your own life. So often we wait until life really demands us to start taking care of ourselves or to make a change, but I just want to ask why. Why not take action today to live a life that's fuller, happier, and healthier while you still can? So as I stated in the beginning, these are only 5 reasons that I personally found important to share with you guys today. But there are so many other great reasons out there to work out aside from looking good and losing weight. And maybe your reason wasn't on my list of examples today. So I want to encourage you, when you have some time after this episode, to just kind of sit with your why. Maybe you're already exercising all the time and you need to ask yourself if your exercise routine actually aligns with and supports your reason why you're exercising. Or maybe you're not exercising and need to first ask yourself why you aren't. Maybe your why is in the right spot, but you don't know where to start or you're afraid to get started. So if you get stuck on any of those questions, that is where professionals like me and physical therapists come in to help get you moving in the right direction, literally and figuratively. So hopefully you are in the percentage of people that is still going strong with their New Year's resolutions. And this episode helps to kind of keep you going and keep you motivated. And if not, hopefully this episode maybe offered you some inspiration on the importance of exercise and might motivate you to get started. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Always feel free to leave me feedback, give me ideas on topics that you might want to see me talk about in the future. And of course, please like, share, comment, subscribe, all the above. And as always, with Improve with Dr. Lindsay, we hope to provoke thought, expand understanding and awareness, inspire and motivate, and most of all, improve your life. Have a good one, guys, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.